Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 6 Review. Captain Kirk's return to Strange New Worlds was well worth the wait. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 6 delivers exactly what fans have been anticipating since Paul Wesley first stepped into the gold shirt. A confident, emotionally charged, and fully integrated return for Captain James T. Kirk. Until now, Strange New Worlds has used Kirk with careful restraint, deploying him in alternate timelines, brief cameos, and character-centric subplots that hinted at his eventual importance without overshadowing Captain Pike's ongoing story. Episode 6 changes that balance in the best possible way, giving viewers the most complete and satisfying version of Kirk the series has attempted so far. It proves that his presence can elevate the narrative without compromising what makes Strange New Worlds unique. The episode succeeds by leaning into an essential truth: Kirk must feel both familiar and surprising. Season 3 finally grants him the narrative weight and character dimension needed to bridge the legacy of William Shatner and Chris Pine with a version tailored for this new era. Rather than relying on nostalgia or quick-hit references, the story builds a meaningful role for him that expands the show's thematic scope and deepens its central characters. Kirk fits into Strange New Worlds without disrupting Pike. One of the biggest creative challenges for Strange New Worlds has always been how to handle James T. Kirk before he canonically takes command of the USS Enterprise. Season 3, Episode 6 addresses this concern directly by allowing Pike and Kirk to operate in parallel rather than in competition. The script keeps Pike central to the plot, emphasizing the wisdom and cautious diplomacy that define his command style. Kirk, meanwhile, is used to energize the narrative with bold instincts, charisma, and calculated unpredictability. The episode carefully avoids the trap of making Kirk too perfect or too future legendary. He makes mistakes, questions his own choices, and shows flashes of the impulsive brilliance that will eventually make him Starfleet's most iconic captain. Crucially, the writers don't rely on heroic shortcuts. Kirk's contributions feel earned, and his chemistry with the Enterprise crew illuminates how he will eventually fit into Starfleet's larger picture. Pike's response to Kirk's return is equally strong. He neither idolizes nor resents the younger officer. Instead, their interactions reflect the mutual respect hinted at in earlier seasons. Pike recognizes Kirk's potential, but remains fully aware of the responsibility he carries as the current captain of the Enterprise. Their interplay brings out new facets in both characters, grounding Kirk while pushing Pike into more dynamic leadership territory. Episode 6 gives Kirk his most fully realized SNW storyline yet. Previous appearances framed Kirk as a narrative device, someone who existed to highlight La'an's timeline trauma or the Romulan incursion during the alternate balance of terror scenario. Season 3, Episode 6 marks the first time he is given a traditional Strange New Worlds arc. A beginning, middle, and end shaped around character-driven conflict. The plot centers on a complex diplomatic mission that spirals into a tactical crisis. The episode blends political tension, exploration themes, and ethical dilemmas with a tightly paced adventure that demands both Pike's steady command and Kirk's initiative. Kirk becomes an essential part of the mission not through destiny, but through capability. He reads situations differently, spots risks others overlook, and challenges assumptions that most officers accept as standard procedure. For viewers familiar with Kirk's future command, the episode cleverly seeds traits that will define him as captain of the Enterprise: his knack for balancing intuition with strategy, his instinctive concern for his crew, and his ability to negotiate under pressure without losing sight of Federation values. The episode also avoids the overuse of Kirk's signature tropes. There is no heavy-handed reliance on his romantic reputation, no shoehorn speeches, and no attempt to mimic Shatner's mannerisms. Instead, the focus stays on character integrity, allowing Kirk to feel like a natural part of the Strange New Worlds ensemble. Paul Wesley delivers his sharpest performance to date, capturing Kirk's intensity without sacrificing emotional nuance. He plays Kirk as a man still gaining confidence, still learning, but already someone with unmistakable presence in a command room. The performance helps solidify the version of Kirk that Strange New Worlds has been building towards since Season 1. Kirk and La'an reunite for a subplot with emotional weight. One of the boldest choices in Strange New Worlds Season 2 was the temporal storyline that left La'an Noonien Singh with memories only she could carry, memories of an alternate timeline where she and Kirk shared a romance he never experienced. Season 3 answers the lingering emotional tension between them with restraint and depth. Kirk's return in Episode 6 provides the first meaningful Kirk/Lon reunion since the timeline reset, and it doesn't lean into melodrama. Instead, their interactions are layered with unspoken history and subtle recognition. Lon remains composed and professional, but her body language and microexpressions reveal her internal conflict. Kirk senses something, even if he cannot fully articulate it. A scene in the episode's midpoint, where Lon briefs Kirk during a tense moment, stands out for how it uses silence and subtext rather than expository dialogue. Their connection feels real without altering canon or undermining Lon's character arc. Strange New Worlds understands that this relationship is one of the series' most unique emotional threads, and the episode treats it with the maturity it deserves. More importantly, Lon's growth is foregrounded. She isn't defined by the alternate relationship. Instead, Kirk's presence becomes a catalyst for her to further examine the guarded persona she has built. Their subplot reinforces the theme that not every meaningful relationship needs closure or continuation. Sometimes it simply shapes who a character becomes. The Enterprise crew reacts to Kirk in ways that expand the ensemble. One of the episode's strengths is how it uses Kirk to illuminate the existing cast rather than overshadow them. Each interaction reveals something new. Spock's early scenes with Kirk showcase the beginning sparks of the future legendary partnership without forcing it prematurely. The episode avoids forced familiarity, instead showing a quiet mutual recognition of capability. Uhura. Their brief exchanges capture the professionalism and confidence that will evolve into one of the most enduring officer friendships in Trek. Uhura's intuition and linguistic expertise play a key role in the mission, and Kirk's respect for her abilities comes across immediately. M'Benga and Chapel both offer subtle humor and sharp insight in their reactions to Kirk's boldness. Chapel, in particular, stands out for the way she challenges Kirk's assumptions in sickbay, setting the stage for the equilibrium she later maintains with future captains. Ortegas and Hemmer's replacement. Kirk's piloting advice and tactical instincts spark playful tension on the bridge, giving Ortegas some of her best scenes in weeks. The episode succeeds by showing how Kirk fits into the broader Enterprise dynamic without reducing anyone's role. Every character gains something from his presence. Action, diplomacy, and classic Trek themes blend seamlessly. Episode 6 feels distinctly Strange New Worlds in its pacing and structure. It balances action with philosophical questioning, grounding its climax in moral choice rather than spectacle. The central conflict, resolved through a mix of tactical brilliance and diplomatic empathy, echoes the spirit of the original series while maintaining the character-driven focus that defines S&W. The final act exemplifies this balance. Pike, Kirk, and Spock collaborate to avert a crisis that could reshape relations with a volatile alien faction. Their solution relies not on brute force, but on strategic maneuvering and an understanding of cultural nuance. It is the kind of ending that,